Introduction. Now, this is our chapter 1. Now, what is in chapter 1? The first chapter in the research. It shows clearly the following. 1.1, the background of the study. It must be presented in a funnel shape, meaning that when you talk about a funnel shape, you start with a worldly perspective, come to the continent perspective, then narrow it down to the country perspective, and then to the region perspective, and finally to the company that you are dealing with. Start with the dependent variable as you move to independent variable. So when you're introducing chapter 1 as background of your study, you start with the dependent variables, then you move on your way to independent variables. Brief and clearly between 5 to 10 pages. So when you're giving your background of the study, give 5 to 10 pages. That is sufficient. Next, statement of the problem. Now, in the statement of the problem, it's normally given 1.3, the objectives, 1.4, the research question and hypothesis, 1.5, the scope of the study, then 1.6, the significance of the study, 1.7, the limitations of the study. Now remember, the limitation comes after you've done a research, not before. So when you're dealing with proposal, don't bring limitations. But after you're done with the proposal, you're doing the final project or thesis or dissertation, bring forth your limitation. Background of the study. The background of the study gives us the insight of the research. It must be presented in a funnel shape, as we have said. Start with the dependent variable. As you move to the independent variable, brief and clear between 5 to 10 pages. Show the history of the company in focus. That gives us all about the background of the study. We come to the problem statement. Now, what is the problem? Our basis of research is the problem. Without a problem, there is no research. So describe the problem posed by the proposed study and specify it in the form of either research question or research hypothesis. So once you get the problem, pose it in terms of research question or research hypothesis. The problem can be solved by the following ways. What is ideal? So ask yourself, what is ideal? The best position of the area of your study. 2, what is real? The current position of the area of your study. So what is happening now in the area that you're dealing with? Then finally, what is the action? The action which the researcher is taking to solve the problem. So what are you doing to solve the problem? To move from what is ideal and to move from what is real to ideal. And once you get this clear, your research, your project, your thesis, your dissertation becomes clear. If the problem is not clear, your research will not be clear. Now, as we ask ourselves this question, this is what we need to be very clear about the problem. The questions the researcher asks when dealing with what is real perspective is number 1, what is the problem? The researcher must clearly state what is the problem. So you're answering what is the problem. Then number 2, why is it a problem? The researcher must inform the users of the information. Why is it a problem? Then number 3, who said it is a problem? The researcher must cite a particular researchers who have raised an alarm on the very area of study. So we have different scholars who have said something about the particular area that you're doing your study. Then finally, what are you doing to solve the problem? The action part in which the researcher moves from the real position to the ideal position. So when you do this, when you clear these questions, the 4 questions, what is the problem? Why is it a problem? Who said it is a problem? And what are you doing to solve the problem? Your statement of the problem becomes real. Must cover up to 1 page. So your statement of the problem should not be big. The smaller it is, the better. The bigger it is, the more problem. So make sure that you have up to 1 page statement of the problem. Objective. 1.31 is the general objective. Give general information about the research to be used or to be undertaken. 1.32 specific objectives. Give clearly the objective to be investigated and examined in the study. So meaning that in the specific objective, you must show critical variables, which is dependent and independent variable. So when you're dealing with specific objective, highlight very clearly what are your variables. So variables must be independent variables and dependent variables. It must be smart. So your objectives must be smart. If they're not smart, then it will fail to measure what is supposed to be examined. Scope and significance. Scope of the study. Scope shows the importance of the study, the objective of the study, the areas where the study will be carried out, and the period of the study. So when you're working with the scope, these are the critical elements. Significance of the study. We are looking at the states who will benefit from the researcher research. So who will be the beneficiaries? Who will benefit from your study? So the beneficiaries include the following: the scholars, the government, the institution, organization or companies, students, and these are the beneficiaries of your study. Limitations. The setback which the researcher encounter in the event of carrying out the research. The limitation must be realistic. They are always presented in the final research and not in the proposal stage. Literature review. It is the second chapter. Shows the literature which is used in the research. So in the literature review, we are looking at the information from theories, from scholars. It provides literature which is used in supporting the area of study. 1.1 Introduction or review. Then we have the concept. You need to give us the concept of the independent variable and dependent variable. Then theoretical review. Which theories are you employing in your study? Then empirical review gives us the information from other scholars or researchers. What are they saying about your objectives? Then conceptual framework is a skeleton of your study.